All right, good morning, church. We are on the final day of this 4-day Bible reading plan using your time for God. On day 3, we talked about maximizing our time spent while emphasizing quality over quantity. Right? In other words, time well spent is going to be more valuable than spending a lot of time doing a whole lot of nothing. Right? It's one thing to say I spent an hour doing this when you didn't spend that whole hour being productive versus saying, well, I spent 20 minutes just being focused in on this one thing. And so in that respect, quality is always going to be better than quantity. All right. In light of day 4's devotional, we are talking about scheduling. More specifically, setting up a schedule, right? Making time for God and planning your day around that instead of trying to fit God in here or there or whenever we can, right? Because I think a lot of times when we try to make time for God, we don't set aside a specific block of our day for God. We just try to fit Him in whenever we can. And that's not to say that there's anything wrong with driving in your car and you're making time for God, or being in the shower and you're making time for God. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, those are great times and great opportunities. But how many of us actually set aside a chunk of our day just to be spent with God? One of the things I really miss, or I should say I really miss during this whole COVID-19 situation is going to the gym, right? Maybe you're not a gym person. I, for one, love going to the gym, right? There's something about lifting weights that I enjoy. There's something about walking on or running on a treadmill or doing the whole elliptical thing. There's something about it I really miss, right? One thing I really do miss is stretching as well. But when I go to the gym, right? When I go to the gym, I have a routine that I do. Like I'm a very habitual creature. I like to do the same things throughout my day, and I'm very routine, right? And so one of the things that I do before I even run or touch a weight is I stretch, right? For 10 to 15 minutes, I bust out my foam roller, the lacrosse ball, the stretchy band stuff, and I stretch for a good 15 minutes, right? For something about it just helps me settle in, gets me ready, and so forth. Even on days I don't need to stretch, I stretch anyways, right? And then for the day, when I'm at the gym, I have a focus, right? I have a goal that I'm setting out to accomplish, right? And so, for example, if I want to work on my legs, I'm not going to waste my time doing things that pertain to the arm or the upper body, whatever. Right? I'm just going to work on legs and legs alone, and I'll be out of there, right? If my focus is working on the back, I'm doing it. If my focus is doing a circuit training exercise, and I'm going from A, B, C to D, and then all the way back to A, B, C, D again for how many times, right? I have no idea. But the reason why I have a schedule and the reason why I try to stick to a particular plan or whatever might have you is because my time at the gym is limited. Right? I can't spend hours upon hours at the gym. I have a short amount of time to get a good workout in. Because if I don't stick to the schedule, if I don't have a schedule, not only do I end up wasting times, I won't set out what I came to accomplish. And if I don't have a schedule in place or a time slot for going to the gym, my chance to do so becomes slim. And having time or having the time to go to the gym later in the day means that I have to sacrifice something else of my day in order to fit that in. And so if I don't go to the gym in the morning, guess what? I'm not going to go in the evening because I'd rather not sacrifice time spent with my wife and my kids and as a family, whether that's enjoying a meal or just unwinding the day, right? But I have a particular set schedule so that I can accomplish the things that I need to on a daily basis. For example, the gym. And the reason why I have a schedule for all these things is because not only is my time limited, but how I spend it is very, very important. And I hope that you would take that into consideration today as we kind of go through this, the rest of this devotional for day 4. In Psalm 63 verse 1, it says, "O God, you are my God. Earnestly I seek you. My soul thirsts for you, and my flesh faints for you as in a dry and weary land where there is no water." Some takeaways from this verse. The first thing is this: oftentimes we seek God out, but it's usually when we have time. I'm talking about like pocket change kind of time. We seek out God then. Or if we seek out God in the midst of our day, it's usually out of a need. Something's not going right in our lives. Something's going wrong. Somebody's sick, somebody's hurt. There's some uncertainty. And then we make time for God. But consistently on a daily basis, we aren't really making a whole lot of time for Him. You see, we don't really seek Him daily, nor do we seek Him consistently for that matter. We're not really praying, or we're listening. We're not really reading the Word. We're not really thinking about life and the gospel and what that means for us, and so forth. And so if I were to ask you, how do you seek God on a daily basis? How honestly would you be able to answer that question? And the answers that you would say, would they be convincing? Or would they just sound like the same runaround? The same answers that you would give any other time that you were asked these questions? I think a lot of times we wouldn't be able to answer these honestly. We'll just give the very churchy, Christian-y answers. But our psalmist, King David, he says that he earnestly seeks. And earnestly here means that he sincerely seeks, that he intently seeks, that with conviction and purpose he seeks. Out of necessity he seeks. It's not when I have some time here and there I seek God, or I seek God on the major holidays and when tragedy strikes, but I'm intentionally, with my time and with a portion of my day, I seek God because I long for more of Him in my life. Without Him, my life just feels a little empty. And so when you look at your day, when you look at your schedule, when you look at your time spent, what does your day-to-day schedule reveal about how earnestly you seek God? The second thing is this: King David gives us a detailed depiction of what life without God looks like for him. For King David, without God, he describes it as a thirst and a faintness in a land that lacks water and cannot replenish what he so desperately needs. You see, in other words, without God, without the presence of God in his life, without the word of God in his life, without the singing of his praises in his life, without God being farther rather than nearer, feels like he's going to die of thirst and or hunger. But for us as a reader, it reveals to us just how desperately, how desperately King David needed God in his life. Not only how desperately he needed Him in his life, but how desperately he needed God to be an ample part of his day. It reveals to us just how dependent David was on God each and every single day of his life. And so can I ask you the question, if the things of God were to be absent in your life, how would your vital signs read? Would you be fine and dandy? Would you be healthy? Would you be okay? Or would there be an emptiness, a void in your day? If you answered that you'd be fine, then I'm sorry to say, I don't really think God is a major part of your day. And if your week, month, a year were to continue without God, I don't think anything would change. I think you would continue life as normal. And the reason being, well, God was never really a major part of your day. So if you're not giving him that time, and you're not missing those, and you're missing those things, then nothing's changed. And that would be sad. That would be very unfortunate. So here's a challenge. Here's a cry, here's my charge. How can we make God a significant part of your day? How can we make God a significant part of our day? How can you schedule time for God in your day to the point where your day revolves around Him? Not where you're trying to just wedge God into your day, but you have an open space, an open time slot to be spent with God. Do you have a routine? And if so, what does that look like? Right, what does it look like, and how good are you at sticking to it? If you don't have a routine, or if you don't have time set aside for God, like routinely, like habitually, then may I suggest to you that maybe, just maybe, there's a nice chunk of your morning where you need to pencil in time with Jesus. And if you're a morning person, that's for you. If you find yourself to be constantly busy with little downtime, then can I suggest to you that when you sit down to eat or have a lunch break, that before you dive into your meal, that you would spend 5 to 10 minutes feasting on the Word of God. And if you're more of a night owl, or if you like to just like compress at night, can I ask you, or can I implore with you, that before you start watching that next TV show, the next episode, or before you hop on your gaming station to get in a quick game, that you would set aside 10-15 minutes of your time to just be in the Word of God, reading it and studying it, and letting it sit on your mind and your heart, and allowing God to convict your time spent with Him. Because the thing is this: without a schedule, without a plan, guess what? You'll find yourself with little to no time for God. And that would be such a wasted opportunity. And so let us maximize the time that we spend with Him. And the way that we can do so is by making a schedule. And so make God a part of your morning. Make God a part of your afternoon. Make God a part of your evening. May He be the very thing that you think about when you wake up. And as you lay to rest, may He be the very last thing on your mind. So let us schedule God into our day. And together, let's seek Him earnestly. May God be with you. May God bless you. Seek Him today.